And thank you for joining Jeff and Jenny's Classic Restorations. Well, today we're back with the Cimatti, and also if you think he's wearing the same clothes as last week, well, it's actually the same day as I've done the review last week. So I'm back to work shortly, so I wanted to try and see if I can get a video done for the following week. So it's the same day. Anyway, we're going to try and have a look at the Cimatti again today, and thank you for everyone that did mention any ideas, reason why we didn't get a spark. We've got to the bottom of it now, and I'll show you in a minute, and then we'll get on, and hopefully we can go for a start today, fingers crossed. Also had similar problems with the Suzuki FZ50. I will show you that briefly before we move on, but let's have a look and see how we get on today. Well, here we are with the dear old Suzuki FZ50, which has actually been fine, but last week, sometime over about 3 days, slowly got worse and worse with misfire, and eventually on the third day, it sort of started, and there was a misfire or backfire, and that was that. Anyway, I thought it might have been fuel related initially, but then it sounded a little bit more ignition-y, so I thought, well, I'll check for a spark. No spark whatsoever. Traced it all the way back up. Still no power coming towards the coil the other side. So when I had done the restoration, this was one little bit I couldn't get off. It was these bolts just would not, they just wouldn't come out. So cut long story short, I did persevere, heated them up, excuse me, heated them up, cooled it down, heated it up, cooled it down. Eventually I got them out, but in there was a bit of a mess. It was there was like aluminium oxide everywhere, the powder mixed with dampness. So there was no, whoever got in there last didn't put a gasket on. But lucky enough, I had a gasket since doing the restoration. So that's all back together and cleaned up. And I'm surprised it actually run the condition it was. But that's all done now, but still no spark. So anyway, so I still had no spark around this area. So what I did then, I've got the manual, tells you what to expect from this. This is like a CDI, I think they call it a PEI on this one. And that basically, because it's electronic ignition, early electronic ignition, you don't need condenser or points. This is the one that tells the coil to spark. So I've done a few tests on there, and a couple of the connections were okay, but it said if there's any that doesn't match up, that's your problem. It's probably that. So I've managed to order a second-hand one. It should have come today, but the updates on, I've just checked with them, the updates, there's still no sign of it. So I'm still waiting for that before we can go anywhere with this one. So anyway, let's get on back with the Cimatti, and we'll just go inside briefly whilst it's very bright and nice day out here. So we'll just go inside, I'll show you Cimatti. Well, as you know, in the last video, we had no spark. I've received the new spark plug holder, and the other thing I looked at, I even got an electric shock out of it up the finger, which wasn't bad. At least I knew there was something there, but still no spark. So anyway, Phil, a friend of mine, he's came up with the idea, but this is what I was half in doubt over, this switch. This was the new switch, and some of the ones didn't quite wire up exactly to that one. This is the aftermarket one, but this is the original now I put on, and you can see it's got the horn button missing. But the cutout switch was such a decent on-off, whereas the new one seemed to be very hardly any movement. So I got a feeling that was just shorting it out all the time. But cut long story short, I've ordered a brand new old stock one from Italy. So I'm waiting for that to come. But in the meantime, we're okay down here. So before we go outside, I'll just show you, hopefully we can see in there, just by turning it by hand, we can get right in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's right way down there, isn't it? You can probably just see one or two there. But a beautiful blue spark there. So I'm hoping now, I've connected up the fuel tank now, managed to get a fuel cap and it's got the fuel line connected with a OMG fuel filter in there as well. So I'm gonna try and see if we can go for a start up now. I've got to mix them all up and some fuel and get this all back together, and then pretty much we'll have to leave it for now until I can get it registered, but it's pretty much there now. But we'll have a little shot at the end with it all back together, hopefully. But the other thing was, I was waiting for some badges to come from the sister-in-law in Thailand. They didn't come. She said that I had to buy 50. It was about £100, and I don't want 50 of them. Just one would be great. So, cut long story short, I had to do a little bit of my own work. I photocopied a photograph of one, and managed to get the size to the right size and laminated it, and that's now on the front there. So it doesn't look bad. It's better than what I had before, a lot better, and it's also better than my hand drawing on it. So let's get this outside and we'll see if we can get some sort of ignition out of it. Well, as you can see around this side, I've cleaned up the fuel tap, and that's working fine. I put some new fuel pipe in there with one of these OMG filters. It is off the engine, quite a way off of it, but what I'll do, I'll tie this back up properly, so that's well away. I can't get any panels on yet because I've still got to put some of these brake cables through, which have to go through here. Then I can start getting stuff back on, and also the brake cables for the front. These are as cleaned up as I can do. These brackets here for the brake levers. One of the brake levers is okay, the other one's a bit naff. So I will be probably powder coating that. May do it in a gold just to be a bit different. But so I'm going to try and mix up some fuel, and I know we've got a spark now, but whether we get anywhere, well, remains to be seen. If it does start, I can carry on getting stuff back together. If not, I'm back to square one again. So I'll mix some fuel up, get it in there, and see how we get on. Well, I've put about a litre in there. I made it 40 to 1 mix. It does say you could probably go a bit less with modern day oils, but I've gone a bit more, just being it's just, you know, new to start again. This is the choke that clicks down there, and then when you turn the throttle full, that clicks off. So basically choke, and then when you go to full throttle, you can just click it off. You can just reset it again if necessary. But okay, so we've got fuel, we've got spark now, and I don't know if we've got any leaks apart from, or we do have a leak. Look at that, isn't that good? But never mind, we'll give it a go, and we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's see if it does start. I've probably got the same trouble as I had with the Suzuki originally, with the overflowing float bolt, but that's not a problem. We can come back to that. Hopefully we can just get a little bit of something out of this. So let's give it a go. Choke's down. There we go, and see what happens. Taking the choke off. At least it's a good start. Let's try again. No, well, never mind. At least let's switch that fuel off for now. Stop dripping now, obviously, because it's used it. But I need to go back to the carburetor, sort that out again. But at least we got a bit of a start. Well, so this side is all fine. As I say, I put new points in and a condenser in there. That's all nice and clean, and all the covers are back on there. So this side is done. I need to do the carburetor, give that another check over. And what else do we need to do? Yes, I need to do the brake cables and the handles. Waiting for a new switch. But I'm going to get on there, see how we get on, see if we get any better running. It's fine, it just seems to rev high, but once you get down to the lower revs, it cuts out. So I'm just going to check the jets and what have you in there again. So I'll get on with that, and I'll come back to you a little bit later on, and hopefully I've got a few more things done, and then we'll leave it at that until I can get it registered. So I'll come back to you just a little bit later on. Well, there we go. It's actually finally finished. I've got the brakes back on now. I painted them in gold, which I thought will match the rest of the sort of trim. So look around. A few little things to do, a little bit of tinkering to do here and there. The engine, I just know it does work, and revs quite high, and it won't work on tick over. But what I did, I just put my hand over this air filter a little bit, and it sort of seemed happier. So I've actually managed to get a replacement from India, would you believe? And that will have the proper air filter on, and that should slow the rate of fuel going, or air going in, which was possibly making it a little bit lean. All the brakes are now connected and working. Yeah, so just a few tinkering things to do, get that engine running right. A few things to adjust. The brakes still need adjusting. One of them's, the front one's still stuck on a bit. Haven't checked the horn yet because I can't. I'm still waiting for this new switch to come, and so this is the old one just so we could get the engine running. But I've got a brand new one, exactly the same, coming from Italy. But there's no hurry on that one. So all that remains to be done now is to go through the pain in the backside procedure of trying to register it. So once that's all done and insured, it's going to probably take a couple of months at least. Hopefully we can come back for a review on it. But as for now, that's about it on the Cimatti. I hope you did enjoy the series, and thank you for watching it. As I say, that's it for the Cimatti. I will come back probably in a few months. It's going to take a while. I believe the DLVA have got problems with strikes and COVID problems from before. So I'm not holding out much hope, but it's probably, I would think, at least a couple of months. Got to get it to get it registered. I've got to get it done through customs as well. No duty paid on that for the Nova form. But we'll persevere, and that's all just paperwork. So a few little tinkering bits to do, but it's basically done now, which is a shame because it was enjoyable to do. And then once I've got it up and running and registered, then unfortunately may have to sell that one and move on to something else. So in the meantime, a few little car bits to do, a few little bits of AliExpress things, reviews. So bear with us until we find something a bit more interesting, and thank you for watching this series, and please subscribe if you do like them, and also look at our back catalogue of different other mopeds that have been restored as well. So thank you for watching the series, thank you for watching generally. You take care out there. Goodbye for now. Bye bye.